Dr. Linda Pajoel is from an organization called Investornomy, and she is a dentist turned investor, best-selling author, and the award-winning CEO of Investornomy. She's passionate about financial literacy and empowers others to build wealth through stock market education. With over 1 million online followers, she's spoken at the United Nations and serves as a global voice in the financial empowerment sector. Her book, Stock Market Mama, and her show, The Dr. Linda Show, continues to inspire audiences worldwide. Today, she's going to teach us about how to turn business cash reserves into growth engines. Please put your hands together and help me welcome Dr. Linda Pajoel. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. I've been sitting over there listening to all the speakers. Okay, my name is Dr. Linda Pajoel, and she have introduced me, so let me start with Investornomy. My company, what we do is that we, carry out outreaches, educating people about investments, specifically stock market investments. But today, we're going to be talking about how to turn business cash reserves to growth engines. So before we start talking, I would like us to check in and see who is in the room, right? So I have 3 types of persons. Perhaps there will be the 4th one, which is none of the above. But let's start. If you are in the room right now, and which of these best describes you? I own my own business. Can I see your hand up? Okay, that's wonderful. Number 2, you don't own your own business, but I am a decision maker at my workplace. Can I see your hand up? Great. Okay, the 3rd one, I'm a featured decision maker, which means maybe you want to own your own business someday, or you're walking up the ladder to become a decision maker at your workplace. Can I see your hand up? Thank you. Okay, so that means that we have a lot of people in this room that own their own businesses. All right, so let's look at the topic, which is how to turn business cash reserves to growth engines. But at this stage, I want us to look at the definition of terms, right? So, for example, when I talk about business cash reserves, what do I mean? It simply means money that the company has right now that you're not using to run your business. Let's say you're not going to need it in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year, right? For some people who are just starting, they may not have a lot of money that they're not using. But at the same time, all businesses are not at the same stage. So there comes a time, whether it is now or somewhere in the near future, where you have some money put aside that you can use, that you're not going to be using in the next 1 year. So that's what I call cash reserves. If you think about it from, for example, an NGO point of view, that could be that, for example, people have received some funding for 3 years. But this is the first year of that funding, right? So that means you are making use of the money for this year, but you're going to keep the money for year 2 and year 3 somewhere. So another way people call it is idle cash. Okay? Now, when we talk about growth engines, it simply means instead of that money sitting idle, or any other thing that is sitting idle in the company, be it asset. Let me give you an example. Let's say your company owns a property. This is just an example. But you are not renting it out, you are not making use of it. That's an example of sitting idle, right? So what we are talking about when it comes to growth engine is how do we turn that cash that is idle into something that begins to bring in money as well into the company. Okay? So, thank you. I'm going to... Why is this topic necessary? The simple way to explain it is so that more organizations will become financially free. When I tried writing this sentence, what came to my mind is financially resilient. But I said, no, Let me put the financially free there, because most times when we talk about being financially free, we think about it from personal perspective, right? Like as an individual, you talk about financial freedom. But one thing that is not often the case is thinking of your company having financial freedom, more or less financial freedom for organizations. Because sometimes you hear that small and medium-sized companies, sometimes they may not even last up to 5 years. Some may not last up to 10 years before they fail, right? So businesses are entities of their own, and they too deserve financial freedom. It's not too much to ask. So thinking about financial freedom or becoming financially free or financially resilient for your organization or your company, imagine a world where your business or current workplace has enough money to pay you, pay its staff, and pay its bills for the next 10 years. Let's just say 5 to 10 years, with or without new income or funding. You know, what would that look like? That means you transition from always worrying about where the next money is going to come from to actually focusing on the vision of that organization. It's actually going to be great. So that's what is like, this is the goal, this is the dream. It is possible, but how do we get there? Right? Why is this, like what we are talking about today in terms of financial freedom? I want you to know that based on publicly available financial statements, a lot of big organizations are already doing this. I'll give you an example. As we've been in the stock market and teaching stock market investing, a lot of times to choose a company to invest in, we have to look at the financial statements. What you see or what you notice is that for the companies that are really doing very, very well, when you're looking at their financial statements, you will see, you know, something like income from running the business, from operation. Then you see investment income. So a lot of great businesses that you see that last 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 years, many of them have investment income. But then when you take a look at a lot of small companies or small and medium-sized companies, they have income from business operations, but not investment income. And that's what really makes the difference for these large organizations. This is, so like, it's not just, hey, big organizations are doing it, small organizations need to catch up. This is real, right? So the goal is that a lot of SMEs will catch up, and this can help to make a business that is currently small or medium-sized to become more resilient and be able to, you know, celebrate 20 years, celebrate 50 years, celebrate 100 years. I mean, everyone would like that. So, in as much as all that I've said now is like, when you think about it, it's kind of cool that your company is going to last 50 years and will not have to worry about money. But what is usually missing is how. How do I take my organization from where we are now to that place where we are celebrating 50 years? Let's start from there. So, and I made this image so that beside my words, you can remember this image. So take a mental screenshot. Okay? For you to start having investment income in your business, what it means is that you are going to take the cash over there, which is cash that you've put in the bank, right? And holding it, holding it really close to your chest, and you are going to use that money to buy the little blue things all around. Those little blue things there, they represent assets. So you use it to buy assets, and these assets, instead of becoming, like, when you have assets, right, the total money or the total, they will say cash equivalents and investments that you have move from being just what you are holding to start growing. Let me give you an example. So let's say you save, I'll just pick a moderate figure. Let's say you save $50,000 and you keep it somewhere with hope that, hey, if we run into issues, at least payroll will still be made. Let's just use 50,000, right? If you keep 50,000 for 2 years, for 3 years, for 4 years, you can easily round it off to still $50,000. Why? Because maybe it will increase 1%, 2%, and become $52,000. But that's what I mean. That's what I mean by if you round it off, you are still going to be getting roughly $50,000, right? But if you take the same $50,000 and you invest it at 10%, I mean, when it comes to stock market investing, when you are doing it right, that's about the least. But let's say at 10, 15, 20%, the first year, for example, it can move from $50,000 to let's say to $57,000. The second year, you are no longer going to be talking about 50-something. By the time you add the income from that second year, it's now 60-something. And third year, you may be talking about $80,000. So there's a difference between saving money in the bank and investing that money so that it can grow. And that's what we should be aiming for. Because if you think about, I used $50,000, something, I would say a figure that is more relatable. If you think about saving $50,000 for payroll, let's assume that makes 3 months payroll. I'm just making up a figure, okay? If you save that amount of money and you're making 3 months payroll, if you invest the money, that may take you from being able to make 3 months payroll to being able to make 6 months payroll, right? That extra 2 months could be the breathing space your business needs to be able to succeed, assuming maybe enough cash not coming in. So it's really important, and it's very easy to think of when you're going to save millions and invest millions, but I want you to know that while that is cool, if you can invest and allow your money to get you 1 more month of payroll amount, 2 more months, that is something. Because for a business, you come to work every working day. So in a month, you have like 20 days, and that's enough time to do something. So every amount matters, and don't bother about what another person is investing. It's about you, because for a business that can save 50,000, there is a chance that their payroll cost is not as much. For another business that can save $5 million, it's possible that may just be 2 months payroll for them, right? So don't worry about how much, the absolute figure. Worry about the amount you are saving and how that can help your business, okay? So now, let's go to the next slide. Desired asset characteristics. Because when I say invest the cash reserve, for some people, that can even bring worry, right? Because you are keeping that money so that you can have peace of mind. Now you are saying invest it. Wouldn't it just disappear and we'll be in a worse place? That's possible. But that's why you need to look at these characteristics. First, you want to look at assets that have low financial barrier to entry. What I'm saying that is that if, let's say you want to buy an asset, and they say it requires $1 million for you to acquire that asset, but you've saved 100,000. It becomes difficult to move on. You'll be tempted to wait, right, to save more. And you may even feel like, okay, this is not doable. Let's just go back to our old ways. But when you look for assets that have low financial barrier to entry, that may mean something that for somebody who have saved 5,000 today, they can start that investment journey. For somebody who have saved 50,000, 500,000, $5 million, like irrespective of where you are in the financial, will I say line, you are still able to start, right? Then another, let's go to the second one, which is no loan requirement, right? Because loan is what we call leverage. It can help you to make more, but at the same time, it can mean losing more when there is a problem, right? So for things like your cash reserve, that's not the time you want to go and be adding the risk of taking a loan, because it makes it difficult to survive any mishap, right? But most importantly, let's say you want to buy a property. That was what you chose as your investment style. And now you have the mortgage down. You have to qualify for a loan in order to make that investment, what's going to happen? Lots of stress, lots of documentation required in order for you to move on. Before you know it, by the time you have 1 or 2 meetings, they'll say, how long have your business been in operation? How much are you making? You may qualify, you may not qualify. How about you go for the kind of investment that you can buy with what you have without waiting for permission from a third party, right? So easy to find, which is C. Why is that important? So long before I settled that I was going to be doing stock investing, I explored a lot of investment options. I tried them out myself, not just reading about them. So one time we're thinking of buying small businesses. So first thing I try to do whenever I'm trying to do something new is I go to the education route. I find an expert, best expert, and I learn from them, pay for their courses, read their books, and so on. Anyway, so I joined this mastermind, and they were like, okay, this is how to find a business. For a lot of people, you may want to set up a team. Put maybe 1 year salary for the people who are going to be looking for this business that you're going to buy. If you have ever looked to buy a small business, it's not something you just wake up and buy. You may not even find what to buy. But think about it. Investing, from what I'm teaching, is not your primary source of income, right, for the business. So by the time you are dedicating a team, spending 1 year looking for the right business to buy, what's the chance that you're actually going to do it, right? So you want investments that are easy to find, also easy to liquidate. Remember, we're investing this money with hope that, yes, it continues to grow, but when we need it, we can get that cash back. There are some properties, like, for example, you have landed property, and when you need that money, you have the property, but you don't have the cash. You don't have a buyer. It takes you months, years, and that is not what you want when you are investing your reserve, right? Then the last one, ability to partially liquidate. So there are some investments that when you buy them, if you need the money, you have to sell the whole thing. But some investments, when you buy them, if you need, let's say you buy $50,000 worth of investment, you need $2,000, you can liquidate $2,000 and leave the remaining 48 to be working for you. That's also another characteristic you should look out for. From everything that I've said, I'll say that perfect examples include stocks, number 1, and ETFs, number 2. What are stocks? When we say invest in stocks, before now, too, it used to sound scary and look like, some things that some gimmicks get into. But think about it this way. If you're a business owner, that means your company already has shares, whether you have formulated the document or not. Your company can be broken into pieces. So that's what stocks represent. A document that shows that you're a part owner in a bigger business that perhaps is well established. Those businesses celebrating their 25 years and journeying onward to celebrate 50 years, 100 years, So when you buy stock, you're just buying ownership in those bigger businesses. So think about it this way. When I say a business can invest in stocks, what I'm saying is that your current business can buy ownership in bigger businesses. If you think about it that way, what's scary about it? And you being a business person, it's very easy for you to understand a business that works and a business that is, there are some businesses you will see, you'll be like, these ones, they're just using branding to cover everything. But as a business person, it's very easy for you to understand how to select the companies that are great and how to separate them from the ones that are just using branding to cover whatever that is going on behind, especially if you learn how to invest in stocks, right? Then when you come to ETF, what is ETF? ETF means instead of you selecting one single company, you are just like, I like the group of people around here. I'm just going to buy something that represents them, So ETFs means you are buying multiple companies through one investment. That's just what it means. So there's still everything I'm saying here is stock market investing, right? That's the way to describe it. But it's scary if you think of the news. But when you break it down to what exactly it is, you see that it's something worth doing, especially for business owners or decision makers, right, in a business. So, I want you to avoid this trap, delaying the decision making, right? So, okay, I was talking with a business owner recently, and she was like, oh, we have this lots of cash we've been sitting on for years. I think from her statement, maybe more than 7 years, right? More than 7 years sitting on cash, and of course the cash keep piling. You know, this sweet thing, it's not like she doesn't want to invest, but it's more like, okay, next month, next year. So I see that it can be a trap. You're actually not against investing, but somehow you don't get yourself to start. It can go there. Now, I'll give you an example. I try to practice what I preach. Okay, so I had, some of you that know my story know that I had a broken ankle, right? Like 2 years ago. So I always wear flats since then. Like, even if I want to wear heels, something flat. So I told myself, I said, hey, do you know this is psychological? There's nothing wrong with your ankle now, but you can't get to wear heels. Because every time I think of wearing heels, I'm like, okay, give me the flats for now. Next time, next event. And I was like, you know what? Bring out those pink shoes. Put them on. You are fine. So my point is this. Psychology can hold you back even when there's really nothing wrong with it. There's really nothing wrong with starting now. But why is it that you prefer to start next month or next year instead of this week, for example, or instead of this month? So this is a trap for you to avoid, okay? The second one is waiting to pile more cash, which is why I said think of stock investing, because there are some shares that are $200, $300 per one, $50 per one, right? That means that you can actually, if you have $5,000, you can buy lots of shares and keep them for your business. Why you save more? Instead of waiting for when you're going to save 100,000 or 1 million or 10 million, whatever the mark is. Then allowing a third party to define your fate. Allowing a third party to define your fate. So I had a booth at an event, and a man who ran an IT firm came to me and said, you know what, do you invest for people? I said, no, we teach people how to invest for themselves. And he was like, I wanted to work with this person. I'll just avoid the designation so that it's not like I'm bashing the designation. I wanted to work with this advisor, but so I have 300,000 to invest now, but the advisor, when I got ready, the advisor said they take only minimum of 500,000 for them to work with the company. So there again, you know, he can move forward. That's what I mean by allowing a third party to define your fate. If you see yourself being stuck because nobody's taking your money, consider learning how to do it yourself. You can do it in-house, right? So, or find someone else who will take something lesser if you don't have the brain space to learn and you still want to outsource. Okay, so one thing, this is the last slide. One thing I want you to remember is start investing your organization's cash reserve. It's like, even if you end up saying, oh, I don't want to do stock market investing, that's fine. Just start investing your organization cash reserve. It will ensure that the money you are saving and keeping idle begins to grow, and that's really what you want. For us as a company, again, we teach people how to invest in stocks by themselves. You know, so if you want to learn more, I have some books that I've written that we give out for free on our website. You can check our website, which is investornomy.com. Thank you very much.